Welcome to the Chaos Sector. Let's touch on a previous episode, which got a bit of criticism from a viewer. In our first Halloween Origins review, an individual voiced their opinion. Fair enough, we accept all feedback. Let's examine, shall we? Quote, so you open with a massive contradiction that is clearly explained in Kills. And obvious in the 2018 reboot. LOL, way to have your finger on the pulse. Then you go on to bash the movie's narrative by saying it's confused with itself, when you're the one that's confused, following up with the Curse of Thorn timeline and giving all the reasons for why Michael does what he does. That's why people didn't like it, that's why Myers was so terrifying in the original. No reason, whether it's trying to stop him or work out why he does what he does, that's exactly what narrative they're carrying on with in the reboots. It wouldn't make more sense for Laurie to be his sister. Myers has no grudge, he doesn't care, he goes home and kills anything that stands in his way. No mercy, no prejudices, just brutality and no real reason for it. Deal with it. Unquote. Now we appreciate the feedback, but this opinion is incorrect. First off, Myers was not terrifying because you think he didn't have a motive. Myers was terrifying because he wore a ghost-like mask, with a dark blue mechanic suit, moved very slowly, didn't talk, and stalked his victims with stealth-like accuracy. The dark atmosphere also contributed to the audience's fear of Myers, because the scenes were filmed in isolated areas. And of course, the theme music also boosted that terror. It had nothing to do with a motive or not. You can't have a killer without a cause. Every slasher film has their killer with an objective. It's not just the urge to kill their victims, it's not some random character behavior. This individual forgets that screenwriters develop these killers, right? A storyline has a purpose. Throughout all of the gruesome killing, intense chase scenes, brutal ways the killer treats their victims, an objective still exists within all of this activity. For example, since this person approves of the retcons more so than the Curse of Thorn timeline, let's break down how they contradicted their own take. In the 2018 film, Myers clearly allowed Allison to survive. She was in the backseat of the police cruiser, sitting right next to him, and Myers literally ignored her. If Myers was this killer who shows no mercy, no prejudices, just brutality with no reason for it, Allison would have been sliced salami, right? Well, he apparently made a, get this, conscious decision not to harm Allison. In the final fight scenes, Myers is struggling with Laurie Strode, instead of overpowering her just like every other character he came across. What makes Laurie Strode special? She is just another vulnerable victim of Michael Myers, if we go based on this individual's take. Just because she is a main character, doesn't mean the monstrosity of Myers is somehow tamed, right? Or in the sequel, how Myers just leaves Allison at the doorstep and follows Karen because she had his mask. He would have killed Karen's daughter without question. Now that's brutality. Do you think Myers spared Allison only because he wanted his mask, more than brutally killing a sitting duck and Allison right next to him? If Myers is depicted as being so consumed with his mask, then it would be the mask that creates the monstrosity, not Myers himself. Surely you don't believe that, but that's how the scene played out, and what the directors alluded to, which you apparently support. Before you say, well, these are main characters, they obviously won't die in the film. Wait, that's exactly the problem. This contradicts the very brutality of Myers then, right? Survival based on importance in the storyline only lasts for so long with Michael Myers. Sure, they can escape their fate maybe once, if the screenwriting is clever. It has to be clever, because if they continue to survive, it will contradict the essence of the killer who they just keep escaping. Meaning, their survival requires a bit of luck, escaping the killer by way of chance, or other characters arriving to rescue them. In the Scream franchise, the character's survival is logical, because the killer is depicted as some goofy human, playing a sick game on their targets. Key word, human. The plot depicts them as only human, which means all characters have a great chance of surviving their attacks. While the Halloween franchise depicts Myers as supernatural, so evil that his humanity is shrouded with somewhat of an unstoppable armor. This is why he is shot up in almost every film, was set on fire, and yet he just won't die off. Because the storyline is based on that unstoppable force. So when you have such a menacing character, eventually his targets will die. Every killer has a purpose. Without purpose, there is no interest in their story. Fans don't want aimless killing, at least the intelligent fans who understand character development through purpose. Think of all the horror characters, they all had a purpose. Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, Freddy Krueger, Chucky, Candyman, Pinhead, Pumpkinhead, Leprechaun, the clown from It, heck even the killer clowns from outer space, the list goes on. All those killers had a story, a motive to why they killed. Listen, it's simple. If Myers is not related to Laurie Strode, then she would already be dead. Because based on your theory, Myers is a soulless monster who kills whatever crosses his path. Yet this soulless monster just can't seem to kill this one person for over 40 years? while every other character is just dumped in the garbage after encountering Myers? Don't give me that Sarah Connor bullshit of Laurie Strode preparing herself to battle Myers at some point. All the training in the world won't stop the soulless monster who has taken enough bullets. His body has become damn near bulletproof due to all the bullets inside him. The very film you are supporting is contradicting your perspective of Myers in the film. Wow, that's crazy. Now please explain that without Myers having a conscience. He would seem to have a reason for not being able to kill Laurie Strode. Otherwise, she would be dead. Honestly, this is what's wrong with modern horror films, they lack character development. And with that, modern horror film so-called fans, who also lack understanding of how character development makes a film complete. A crapload of kills does not translate to a good film. It doesn't matter how gruesome and gory they are, how many jump scare scenes there are, if the killer does not have a target and a personal objective, it's just a film designed for fear factor junkies. No offense. A wandering killer with a mask, just randomly killing whoever crosses his path, is what you have reduced Michael Myers to. Now, if he is a wandering killer, how can you effectively create a script for this wandering character? And I just rehashed the previous point, the fact that Laurie Strode is still around, proves Myers is more than just an unconscious killer. I understand you don't like the Curse of Thorns storyline, as it makes Myers appear to be a puppet. But this is logical, in connection to the actual Halloween season, and its history. Rituals, sacrifices, witchcraft, all of this is a part of Halloween itself. So you may not like that storyline, but it's not only logical, it is also far more logical than a quote, wandering killer with no objective to why he kills. I think you may have misinterpreted the actions of Michael Myers. When you see him kill individuals, you think it's just his nature to do such. But actually, the majority of Myers' kills are linked to his main target. Yet, I guess there is no main target if there is no motive to Myers, right? This individual seemed to have a problem with the episode. They continued. Quote. You really need to pay more attention to the damn films. Myers needs no purpose at all, and trying to insult someone's intelligence based on your ignorance is just nonsensical in itself. He only bothered to try to find Laurie and her family members in the movies that are no longer canon, the original, purely coincidence that they even had an encounter. If Loomis wasn't there in the first movie, Laurie would be dead, simple. In 2018, he's taken to Laurie by Sartain, otherwise, they would never cross paths. Otherwise, why wouldn't Michael go out of his way to go to the hospital and kills? Sorry, but real fans understand this, because they understand the original concept of the shape. Unquote. Now, first off, no one insulted your intelligence. If it was insulted, then maybe it isn't that high, just saying. Second, Myers needs no purpose at all? Then what would be your interest in not only that character, but the actual film the character is in? You seem to be a part of the jump scare generation, who get their rocks off just seeing gruesome, pointless hack and slash concepts. Those would be dummy kills. Well, dummy kills, for a dumb audience. Third, claiming that Myers encountered Laurie by coincidence in the first film? Unfortunately, you believe that was the plot. We already broke the first film's plot down. And to say that Laurie would have died if Loomis wasn't there to save her only proves my point that she should be dead right now. I also noticed how you skipped from the original film all the way to the 2018 film. That's 40 years, buddy. Nothing else to examine with Halloween? Oh, let me guess, you're one of those individuals who only support the Laurie Strode timeline, right? Well, just like you said, Laurie would be dead if Loomis wasn't there. Not much to produce, surrounding a character who is not related to Myers, who has no motive to kill her, yet she has been obsessed with him for over 40 years. That's not a good storyline, it lacks conviction. You claim that Myers is coincidentally engaging with Laurie Strode, which creates the overall plot of each film. That's exactly the problem. Dr. Sartain attempting to take Myers to Laurie Strode was just a clever way to disguise the subconscious plot of the film. Myers targeted Laurie Strode. Everyone knew from the beginning of the film that Myers would track Laurie down, so claiming it was coincidental to how Myers found Laurie is either ignorance on your behalf or you're just eager for a debate. Fine. This individual asked, quote, why wouldn't Michael go out of his way to go to the hospital in Halloween Kills if he was targeting Laurie Strode? Well, because Myers is not stupid, that's why. I'm detecting a troll, but that's fine, I'll entertain it for a moment. If Myers went to the hospital to find Laurie Strode, it would have been him splattered on the ground, instead of Mr. Penguin. The fact that they asked that question indicates they just wanted to be disagreeable. Whatever, use your time as you wish. A storyline based on coincidences, retarded. We're talking about a storyline. Not a segment in a film, the entire storyline of the film. A coincidence does not have enough substance to continue producing future films, as it lacks a foundation of purpose for the antagonist of the storyline, being Michael Myers. And because of this, you yourself wouldn't have the opportunity to even enjoy Halloween. In other words, throughout all of the scenes in the film, Myers would be killing random characters. To what endgame? What would be his purpose throughout his massacre? Because he's evil? Even this has a motive, so you're not gonna avoid a motive with the character. Put it this way, since you seem to have a problem grasping character development. Myers is introduced as a soulless, dark and gloomy figure who kills indiscriminately, right? Okay, that works for the original film, that introduces the slasher to the audience. But now, there are characters who are intertwined in the storyline, as you have to create character relativity to that slasher. This is how film producers create, get this, sequels. If there is no development with such relativity, through either a sibling storyline or some other connection to Michael Myers, sequels can't develop because the fucking storyline has not progressed from its inception. Once a sequel is produced, with those characters returning, now they most definitely are targeted by Myers, which means, get this, he has a motive to kill them. And now since he has a motive to kill these specific characters, more sequels naturally unfold, based on what? Progression of a storyline. Let's take the Retcons trilogy for an example, using your own perspective against you. It's 40 years later, since the original film. In the original film, based on your perspective, Myers coincidentally pursued Laurie Strode. Okay, fast-forwarding 40 years later. He once again, coincidentally engages Laurie, is set on fire, but survives. Then, the sequel comes out, and Halloween Kills. Would you say that it is now, that Myers is targeting Laurie Strode? He has a motive to kill her now, right? She set him on fire, surely he has an objective to kill her, right? Or is he still just some random killing machine? I think you get it. The point is, without a motive to kill the main characters, you have a film full of, well, random kills. And since we're at it, why would Myers stay locked up for over 40 years, if he is such a soulless, evil, killing machine, with no conscience? He would have escaped long ago, to return to his murderous ways, right? But I guess since he has no motive, he would just sit in an institution for decades. Ironically, that's exactly what he did in the storyline. Do you think this was how they wanted the plot to be? You probably would say yes, but no, that's retarded. They had no choice but to do this. We just went over who ruined the Halloween franchise. And this person is the main character in the current films. Excluding Rob Zombie's Halloween films, there were no Halloween films from the year 2003 to 2018. That's 15 years without Michael Myers. And if we go based on the 2018's retcon storyline, it would be a whopping 40 years since an actual original timeline of Halloween was made. That's fucking unbelievable. This is due to eliminating the Jamie Lloyd timeline, which would have filled those years quite well with a decent storyline of all characters involved. But that would conflict with the current crapfest of Halloween films. While we're at it again, I guess his bus crashing was also just another, get this, coincidence? Let's play the what-if game. What if Myers' bus didn't crash? The film wouldn't exist, right? Which means he could potentially be locked away for another 20 years, shit, he would be 80 years old by then. What about Laurie's age? She would be just as old, still sitting around, in her adult diaper, thinking Myers is in her house. Anywho, that was fun. Hope you learned something today. The lesson learned? All killers have a motive, point blank, period. We will return with the Curtis vs. Harris saga. This is the Chaos Sector, Film Reviews.